Bill O'Reilly joins us. Bill O'Reilly, of course, perhaps the most successful broadcast news journalist in the history of television. Also, the most successful nonfiction author ever. His new book, Killing the Killers, The Secret War Against Terrorists, comes out in May. It should be fantastic. Bill O'Reilly, of course, is fresh off his tour, very unique tour with President Trump. Interviewed him in several cities. Bill O'Reilly, how you doing? Welcome.
Thanks for having me in, Kelly. How you been?
I'm terrific. Not as active or as busy as you. This was wild. It seemed unprecedented. You and President Trump on stage. You know all about this guy. What was the big thing you learned that you didn't know before?
His relationship to Putin and Xi. We got into that very heavily. And now with Ukraine and Taiwan and all that, it becomes very important for the American people to know that President Trump had an understanding with Putin. I don't know exactly. He wouldn't really tell me what the understanding was. But in those 4 years, Putin is kind of calm. He didn't really cause a lot of trouble because there was something between the two men that was beneficial for both parties. All right. Now, Trump said to the audience at the tours, I basically did not condemn him, put him on the defensive. I assured him that NATO was not going to do anything toward Russia, and I just calmed him down. Essentially, that was it. And it worked. And now you see what we have in Ukraine. Xi, a little bit more complicated. I don't think they had the same kind of rapport that Putin and Trump did.
It's kind of wild. Joe Biden shows up in the White House as president. He had all that time in Congress, and my sense is he is light years behind somebody like Trump in terms of managing these guys like Putin, like Xi. In comparison to Trump, the professional is the amateur, and the amateur is the professional.
It's a different style. That's what it's all about. Trump is a deal maker. That's how he governed. He made deals in every area. And he was the center of the deal, the art of the deal, Donald Trump. So if he's not interested in the situation, he doesn't pay attention to it, like the EPA and things like that. Didn't care. But if he was interested in it, he would make the deal. Biden delegates. He's not a deal maker, Biden. All right. He's a schmoozer. He softens people up and then he lets other people come in. So therefore, he's not as engaged. He's not as involved as Trump was. Trump took it personally if the deal didn't come through. The Mexican president knew that. OK, the Mexican president didn't want tariffs on all Mexican goods. So the Mexican president solved the border problem for at least a year. Biden didn't have that. And that's the difference that you see. Biden governs from an ideological point of view. Trump did a business point of view.
Gotcha. Well, Joe Biden has an opportunity now. There's a vacancy, will be shortly on the Supreme Court, an opportunity to fill a seat. This is the promise he made when he was running for president, and by all accounts, he's going to fulfill it. Take a look.
I committed that if I'm elected president, have an opportunity to appoint someone to the courts, I'll appoint the first black woman to the courts. It's required that they have representation now. It's long overdue.
You know, when I hear it out loud like that, I don't like it. I don't like the idea that it's about gender and it's about race. But Ronald Reagan, I think, made a similar pledge about a woman on the Supreme Court. Do you know anything about that? And also, what are you hearing about Kamala Harris being on that court?
That's just bogus baloney. Okay. It's kind of like Brian Williams anchoring the CBS News. Totally fake, phony stories put out there to deflect from the real situation. The Kamala Harris factor does come in because she was chosen to run for vice president, not on her abilities or achievements, but on her skin color and gender. Now, I think the selection Mr. Biden is going to make is Judge Brown Jackson, who's currently on the D.C. circuit. She's well thought of. 3 Republicans voted to put her on the circuit. They will vote for her again, so it's a lock. So she's in. If Biden goes someplace else, going to be a little more difficult, and he doesn't need that. So I think you're going to see Judge Brown Jackson become the new Supreme Court justice fairly quickly.
Let's face it, though, Kamala Harris, nobody likes her. She seems to not like Joe. Joe doesn't like her. She's a lawyer. She's a woman. She's black. I mean, this could be a face-saving move, but I get it. So it's probably not in the cards. Hey, overall, Joe Biden, I heard you talk about this earlier. The media, are they turning on him ever so slightly? You know, they were protecting him, full-time protecting him, but now it's so bad, his performance, it seems like they're only they can't deny it much longer. I mean, everybody can see it. Why can't they? I think they're catching on, or they're going to let up on their protection.
See, Kelly, you use the words, the media, they, like it's a monolith, all right? That's not what's happening here.
Well,
the corporations control what is now reported in the American press. So orders come down. They come down. All right. So MSNBC and CNN, you're going to hate Trump. You're going to be liberal because we can make money by you guys doing that. And if you don't like it, you don't work here. Not as stringent at Fox, but the same kind of point of view. Our audience is conservative and traditional. You don't want to shake them up. But there are exceptions like Geraldo Rivera and a few other people. Okay. So the corporations are getting very nervous because the audience is going down for all news, all TV news. So the instruction has been issued. Do not prop up Joe Biden anymore. Report what's happening. That word has gotten to all the people who work for these news organizations, and that's what you are seeing. It's not the same thing in the newspapers now. The New York Times, the Washington Post. They're not basically operating on an ideological basis to make money. They're true believers. I mean, they are fanatical leftists in both papers. So their reporting is a little bit more nuanced than the television reporting.
You know, I always found political reporting far more honest on television because you can actually see the soundbite, you know the inflection, you can only do so much with it, whereas you can take a quote and blow it out of proportion in print. You know what I mean? So I always
Kelly, that's a brilliant point. That's a brilliant point. So the reporters don't have any control over their own articles and the headlines. So if they write an article and they send it in, the editor wants to shade it. That's what the editor does. The reporter better shut up. And they do. So on television, you can't do that. But there are meetings every morning, and the orders go out from those meetings on television. This is what you cover, and this is how you cover it.
Bill O'Reilly, I have just one small correction. Viewership is down across the board, except the show you're on right now. And also your program, Bill O'Reilly. Check it out, the No Spin News on BillO'Reilly.com. And we are looking forward to Killing the Killers, a secret war against terrorists, coming out this May. Bill O'Reilly, we thank you so much.
Anytime, Kelly. Stay strong.
Okay, you too. We'll be right back.